counties in east central New York, Albany, Columbia, Greene, Rensselaer, Saratoga, Schenectady, Warren, and Washington, and in southern Vermont, getting to the money shot, Bennington and Windham.
Ooh, well.
So we'll see if we can fight it off.
Yeah, well, we've certainly heard from a number of places to go shopping and
to take
get
cover.
refreshment
So I think
and
we'll be
eat
all right.
today.
We'll occupy ourselves later in the day.
Jessica and Kitty have done a great job of introducing us to all these merchants here in the town, and now we're going to be talking. And speak of the
very
devil,
important person.
Yes.
I don't know about that,
Well,
but just one of the people, yeah.
Michael Harrington, Director of Economic and Community Development here in Bennington.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
Good.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we've had a fun time. Sorry to interrupt you, Kate, with talking to all these merchants here in town, and what a great little. I mean, I don't want to, it's bigger than a village, but it has this nice village feel to it in Bennington.
Yeah, the town's much larger than I think people expect. It's got about 16,000 people. It encompasses the village of downtown Bennington, Old Bennington, and North Bennington. And I think one of the interesting pieces about Bennington is that many communities have to try to figure out what their identity is, whether they're going to be a major commercial hub or they're going to be a downtown village center. And so specifically for us here in Bennington, I think the unique thing is we're able to have both. And so we have our downtown, and you've been talking with some of the merchants from downtown, but half a mile up the road, we've got our commercial district, which is also Northside Drive. And you'll see some of our larger stores in that direction as well. So we're able to have this balance of both, and that doesn't mean that they're exclusive of one another, but it's pretty unique, I think, for Bennington. Not every community can maintain both of those.
Right.
And what would you say are some of the biggest things that draw visitors here?
Well, the biggest challenge we have is that we want to grow as a community. We want new businesses to come in. We want to have enough jobs for the people living in our community. At the same time, one of the things that makes Bennington unique is that it's Bennington. It's got that small town American feel to it. And so the biggest thing for us is how do we grow in a way that helps us maintain our identity? Because it's not hard to find anywhere USA with big box stores or strip malls or things of that nature. So how do we bring the amenities here that people want, whether it's retail and shopping, whether it's industry, whether it's professional businesses, but at the same time maintain that community feel that I think makes us unique.
Well, you have that New England feel here, which I think is very important anywhere, in the northeastern United States, where the box stores don't just necessarily work. They it kind of takes away from that feel, but people still need to go shopping and need to get their goods, and so services are often a good way, whether it's just that personal service of knowing your customers' names, and you get that sense here. And
you do, and I grew up around here, and I left and ended up coming back years later, and there's talk in Vermont, across the state, and probably across the country about the idea of youth flight and the fact that youth quickly leave the communities they grew up in to move somewhere else, especially in rural America. I'm not sure there's necessarily anything wrong with that, because I would prefer that people leave, experience other parts of the country and the world, and then decide on their own to come back, because they're 100 times more committed to the place that they end up in when they've chosen on their own to come back. Otherwise, they feel like they're trapped here.
That's a good point.
They end up with a chip on their shoulder about the community. So I was one of those people that left and came back, and I came back under my own volition. And so, I have a deeper appreciation, I think, for what Bennington offers. So.
And now, what are some of the things on tap for Bennington? I mean, what's coming up? What's new and exciting?
Probably stuff you've heard a lot about. Everything from some new businesses coming into town, and I think sometimes we always look for that new 300-person business, major manufacturer, or something like that. Those days, I think, unless you're a major metropolitan area or a place that is really designed to meet the needs of these large-scale companies, are probably dead and gone. But for us, I would take 100 5-person or 10-person startups, small businesses, locally owned, locally operated businesses over any of those any day. And that's because the people who start businesses here choose to be here. They're more committed to the community. They give back to the community. As they grow, they're employing local people, and they're more likely to be involved in the culture. So in terms of things that are going on, we've got some increased development on Northside Drive. There's a large redevelopment project that's been in the works for a long time around the Northside Drive shopping plaza, which includes both Price Chopper and Walmart. But at the same time, we have some manufacturers that have chosen to be here, and they continue to grow. And so NSK Steering Columns or Command Composites are both companies that have indicated they're growing over the past year and will continue to grow, along with National Hanger Company, which provides clothes hangers to large industries all across the world. So those are some of the local businesses, but that are corporately owned. But we also have locally owned 25, 50-person shops that continue to contribute to our community, like Global Z International or K&E Plastics, Vermont Timber Frame, and a number of other businesses that have decided to set up shop here. So we've got those. We've got, it's summertime, so there's a lot of events. We just had our Brewfest competition. We've got a large concert with ZZ Top coming in a few weeks. So we've got a lot of different things going on that and then obviously the Garlic and Herb Festival, which is also coming. So a lot of different things going on, whether you live here or you're a visitor traveling through. There's plenty of stuff to do.
It's a great place to visit. I've heard about this Ninja Bike Path.
I was going to ask.
What is
that?
that?
The Ninja Bike Path. So the name is kind of deceiving, and really it was...
So you could see it?
Yeah, exactly.
You can see people actually riding bikes.
They're dressed as ninjas, and they move really quick and quietly. The name came because there had been money put aside for pedestrian pathways in Bennington for years, 10 years, 15 years. It was part of an earmark from the federal government at one point, and it just took so much energy and effort, and it never seemed to go anywhere. And so there was this small group of community members who said, let's just get together and do as much as we can with local support, local fundraising. And so that's where the name Ninja, because they're kind of stealthy and they fly under the radar.
I love it.
And sometimes it's, and this isn't anything against the state of Vermont or the federal government, but sometimes it's a lot easier and you can be a lot more nimble and agile when you don't include some of these larger organizations that just have so many reporting requirements.
Right, layers of bureaucracy.
Yeah, layers
and
layers. So, in this case, we are still working with the state of Vermont. We've just applied for a $1.2 million bike ped grant through the state of Vermont, and some of that is federal monies. So if that comes through, we'd be able to do the whole path all at once. That being said, I don't think any of us sit here thinking that's going to happen. It's pretty unlikely that we'll get a bulk of the money, but we'll continue to do pieces at a time. And so we've done different phases. We've had local businesses provide materials. We've had volunteers clear paths and trails. We've done scoping studies so we could get across a little stream. So there's a lot of different components to it, but it will essentially, all done and said, it'll connect Bennington downtown to Bennington College, which essentially then will connect Bennington to North Bennington. And so it will travel Northside Drive a little bit. It will go behind the large shopping centers that I talked about earlier, along the riverbank, and then to North Bennington through Bennington College.
Wow. So, and it's a neat thing because you have the community involved in it, so that the community's invested in it, and it's something for everyone to be proud of.
Well, definitely local community. They've been in support of it for a long time, and we've got a good group of people that are volunteering to do the work. From an economic development standpoint, as we look at quality of life issues, reasons either tourists come to visit or when businesses set up shop, they're looking for amenities for their employees. So this is also one of the things that adds to the value of the overall community.
Well, I think this is just a great place if you're, particularly those of us back home or watching or listening down in Connecticut, if you're looking for a nice little getaway 2.5 hours away, and
Beautiful drive.
Yeah, a
No
beautiful
traffic.
Yeah, a beautiful
Yeah.
drive up here, and then a beautiful town to walk
Yeah.
around in the summer, and it gets a little cooler. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's not the hot heat.
No,
the
it's
intense
much hotter at
It's
home,
90
yeah.
degrees back home and much more humid. So this is
Yeah.
it's like it's the fall already
Yeah.
up
Nice.
here for
I wouldn't
us.
go that far.
Not
Don't
yet.
push it, okay? I mean, we're trying to
hanging on to summer
Yeah, hang
still.
on to
Come
summer
on.
as long as possible. But I will say, I think that's one of the things that makes Bennington unique compared to the rest of the state of Vermont. Is that whether you choose to live here or you choose to visit, if you're from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, I mean, some of these are day trips for
Right.
somebody.
That's
You
true.
know, so
That's
if you're
right.
traveling to Burlington, Vermont, up by the northern part of the
Yeah.
state, you're looking at more of a 7-hour drive. If you're wanting to come to Bennington, you're looking at a 4 or 5 hour drive. So it can be something that's done in a weekend or in a day,
Right.
depending on where you're coming from. From a business perspective, it certainly gives us an advantage because of how close we are to major metropolitan areas. So whether it's Albany, New York, which is about 45 minutes to an hour away, whether it's Boston, which is about 3 hours away, or New York City, which is about 3.5, depending when we start talking about transportation and freight and things that major corporations look for, as well as quality of life and the ability for someone to essentially live in small town USA, Bennington, Vermont, and still be able to enjoy going to New York City for the weekend or going to Albany for the day. So there's a lot of different strategies, and I think our location is one of our best advantages that we need to start taking advantage of and promoting it that way.
Well, you seem like you're doing a good job so far.
Well, it's a never-ending story, you
Yeah.
know, and luckily we've got a lot of different partners, whether it's the Better Bennington Corporation, the Chamber of Commerce, the Industrial Corporation, or the Regional Commission. One of the unique things from my work across the state has been how all these different organizations, they could essentially be vying for power or recognition, and really they're all in on it together. And so I think we, different than other places, partner pretty well. And so we even have a group that meets on a monthly basis called the Bennington Economic Development Partners. It includes all these individuals, local business owners. It includes some of the local colleges. You know, we all get together on a monthly basis to talk economic development in Bennington.
Oh, great. Some more of that community-ness, that we keep hearing about up here,
Yeah.
which is great. Well, Michael, thanks so much for taking
Thank
some
you so
time
much
to
for having
join
me.
us,
Appreciate
and
it.
we're really enjoying your town.
Yeah.
Good luck with
Thanks
the rest
for
of the show.
hosting
Great.
us.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Perfect.
Take
Thank you
care.
again.
Thank you.
Another thing too, Kate, if anyone is thinking about coming up here, the Vermont News Guide puts out this really cool special supplement, and Rob, too, to bring you back into the conversation.
Yep.
2015 Summer Guide to Vermont. It's not just about skiing.
No,